The Zone of Alienation is the 60-kilometer wide area of exclusion that was set up around the Chernobyl nuclear power plant following the first disaster and then extended by the second disaster. And it's the wonder of the world. A large number of opportunists, known as stalkers, risk their lives and explore the zone, searching for its treasures, its bounty, artifacts.
We have nothing to worry about. According to our research,
The zone is studied by scientists. Mercenary stalkers like Scar serve as protectors and guides. An emission, or blowout, is a sudden release of excess noosphere energy from the center of the zone. Being exposed to an emission destroys one's mind, and if you're lucky, body.
The zone is impossible to understand when viewed through the prism of human perception. Moreover, it is far too early for humans to even try. Ergo, the actions of both the government and stalkers with respect to the zone are misguided.
We are Scar the Mercenary, and this is Stalker Clear Sky, the second game in the series, chronologically a prequel. We somehow survived a blowout.
welcome back to the world of the living.
Lebedev is in charge of a non-government organization of scientists studying the zone. You know, these guys are important because the game is named after them. They're very hush-hush about their origins though, probably work for Bezos or some such creature. In any case, it's good to be back. The computer is running Norton Commander, it looks like. The interiors and the social spaces are impressively detailed, an improvement over the original Stalker. Wow, these guys killed Diablo IRL. Understanding is the key to coexisting with the zone, says Lebedev. Emissions is how it stays unknowable. Blowouts sweep the zone of alienation, changing it, causing mutant migrations, making previously safe areas radioactive and full of anomalies. This is where the artifacts come from. Detector devices help us locate them. Ours is primitive. Artifacts can be sold for good money or equipped for bonuses, but our newbie armor doesn't have that functionality. The last big emission opened parts of the zone that were inaccessible for years. It also changed the political balance between the factions. The Clear Sky scientists fight over the swamp against a criminal organization called the Brotherhood of Nod, I guess. They are called the Renegades, and they don't appear to have an ideology. Their purpose is to introduce us to the faction war mechanics that were greatly expanded in this game. This was its main selling point, in fact. Clear Sky has a reverse difficulty curve. Our weapons are inaccurate and armor offers primarily psychological protection. We can survive 1 or 2 hits and die instantly to a headshot, but so do our enemies. When we clear an important location, the HQ sends a garrison unit and it usually takes a while for it to arrive. It's not a cutscene. The abandoned factory is the Renegades' main base in the swamp region. The AI makes the combat work. The bad guys don't know where we are unless they see us or hear us. They will try to outmaneuver us, and we can outmaneuver them. The special effects were greatly improved compared to the original Stalker. This is an unmodded game. Seriously, look how beautiful the blowouts are. For comparison, this is what they looked like in Shadow of Chernobyl.
Imminent blowout! Run, Mark 1! Hell is about to break loose!
I love Professor Kruglov. Despite all the screaming, he was mostly hurt emotionally. The factory was one of the objectives we need to take in order to win the map for Clear Sky. The other one is this little abandoned village that serves as a transition area to the Cordon. I took out the bandits, but the Clear Sky squad wasn't showing up, so I went to investigate what's going on, and it turns out they were ambushed by another bandit patrol and engaged in protracted firefight. You guys took your sweet time, again.
All squads, dig in and keep positions and wait for further instructions.
Your reward will be waiting for you at the base.
I was having so much fun I forgot this was supposed to be the worst of the Stalker games. The atmosphere is all wrong, supposedly. It's inauthentic. The zone is overpopulated, doesn't feel lonely and desolate. This is mostly not true. I spent nearly half an hour searching for hidden stashes in the swamps, and I don't think I've met a soul.
Home sweet home.
Faction warfare is not the game's only innovation. The weapon upgrade system offers mutually exclusive paths and is a great money sink. A few thousand Soviet rubles later, and the MP5 becomes a solid-ass gun. There is an interesting optional upgrade to mod it to use Makarov's 9mm round, which is available everywhere in vast quantities.
А нам что? Мы на подхвате. Вооружены и очень, как говорится, очень опасны.
The weakest point of Clear Sky is its silly story. It's basically like this. Scar has an abnormal ability to survive blowouts. Lebedev thinks the emissions are the zone's immune response to Stalker fuckery. A great explorer, who happens to be the protagonist of the first game, intends to reach the center of the zone to learn its secrets. Lebedev theorizes that this will create the mother of all emissions, and everyone in the zone will be in terrible danger. Our job is to stop Strelok. The reason this is silly is because retracing Strelok's steps also happens to be the story of the first game. Copy-pasted. Whatever gets us adventuring, I guess. Our first stop is Sid, a trader from the Cordon, our true alma mater.
I haven't seen anyone come from the swamps in a long while. You've come out right next to the army outpost. There's only one thing a stalker can expect from the army, and that's a bullet.
There are two ways of entering the Cordon from the swamp, and we picked the wrong one. The machine gunner on the guard tower is a spawn-camping asshole. The only thing protecting us from getting murderized is this tree. We have to go back and find an alternative point of entry.
Может, будешь потом эти дни вспоминать, как самые счастливые.
It's nighttime. The loners are apolitical stalkers unburdened by ideology. They are mostly motivated by profit, but in a chaotic good kind of way. The loners hold a much firmer grip on the Cordon than in the first game, operating an additional base in this abandoned farm.
I'm all ears.
Someone get the doctor, this man is having a stroke.
Hey, Merc, what brings you here?
Remember this place? The rookie village. Didn't change much. Sid the trader is still in his bunker.
Nice to see you. So, shall we talk business?
But before we allow him to drag us into local political conflicts, I want to undergo the unspoken stalker initiation ritual and infiltrate the military base to silence the machine gun at the very least. As the real-life attitudes changed, so did the way these games portray the Ukrainian military. In Shadow of Chernobyl, they were incompetent, corrupt, cruel, generic bad guys, basically. In Clear Sky, the soldiers are actually good at their job and are a threat. Still bad guys, though. In the subsequent Call of Pripyat, we play as one. And in Stalker 2, well, after so much was sacrificed, entire cities leveled, mass graves, portraying the military as video game baddies would be tone deaf. This is a visual demonstration why so many individuals refuse to play this without mods. The fucking gun shoots everywhere except the direction it's pointing. The game doesn't have skills or stats, it's just weird Chernobyl ballistics. But it's not this bad with well-maintained and upgraded firearms. I eventually discover that the checkpoint spawns unlimited soldiers, grab what I can and retreat. Yeah, the zone is like super overcrowded. A space anomaly is preventing us from exploring the tunnel. The real entrance is elsewhere. It's this ball lightning looking thing. We'll have to jump. There are a lot of anomalies, but very few artifacts in the Cordon. In fact, I found none. Collecting and selling artifacts is a great source of income, and the money is important. The traders do actually sell stuff you want to buy. Father Valerian commands the loners. They had a deal with the military. The latter allowed them to go in and out of the zone as long as the bribes were paid, but then it turned out the soldiers had the same deal with the bandits.
What you staring at? This ain't no zoo.
The military commander is Major Kaletsky. He is in loner custody.
You think I got nothing better to do than chase people like you around the zone? I've had enough of this shithole, the friggin' zone, the bastard stalkers and that Sidorovich cocksucker.
They can't let him go. He's a hostage, and the only reason this place wasn't yet leveled by Heinz. One thing leads to another, and here we are, in charge of a horde of stalkers, counterattacking the military dudes. We haven't joined the loners, by the way. The sign-up bonuses are good, but these guys are hostile to the bandits, which makes exploring the next area 5 times more difficult. A shotgun is a weapon of choice against mutants. Most of them are only dangerous at melee range, and, well, honestly, at this point, you collected so much shotgun ammo, might as well use it. Look at Artyom Shaggy here in Stalker power armor. Exoskeletons are rarely found in loners' possession. Before moving to the next area, it's very important we spend all our money on items and equipment upgrades. It's even okay to buy stuff you don't really need.
Got some loot? That's a beaut.
Listen, we need to talk. Just put that gun away first.
The bandits controlling the garbage will take all your money. In the early versions of Clear Sky, they also took all your items. This was especially cruel, considering that acquiring better equipment is what this game has instead of a traditional character progression. It's probably possible to just shoot the bandits, saving the rubles, but I'd rather explore their content. The old train yard is the Gopnik base HQ. The musical genre is called chanson, or blatnaya pesnya, or thieves' song. The characteristic dialect they speak is fenya, the thieves' language. It has the standard Russian grammar, but common words would have unusual or secret meanings. It's funny that these games became international ambassadors of East Slavic gangster culture.
Hey, buddy!
Every joinable faction has a technician, and every technician has a specialization. This guy can make exotic upgrades to Seva suits, military armor, foreign guns, Russian special forces rifles. This version of the faction is the most well-equipped in the series.
There's a fellow that needs to disappear.
Our assassination target says if we spare his life, he'll share the location of a secret stash full of guns. Deal. Let's go see what's inside the stash. Whoa, he wasn't lying. The L85 alone is worth thousands. The main advantage of the British rifle is that it comes with an integrated scope. The bandits battle against a local loner subfaction called the Diggers. The gangsters enslave stalkers and force them to excavate the garbage searching for artifacts.
Keep your distances when attacking. Sit tight. Fire on my signal. Go, go, go!
Something unusual happened. A Freedom Squad showed up to take the ruin from the bandits. It's a little weird because this position is closer to the center of the garbage, and the Freedom Base is some distance away. It's our next destination, actually. I decided to help them. We are done with this place. No reason to placate the Gopniks. Just like in Shadow of Chernobyl, the nights are pitch black and it's impossible to manually pass the time. Scar doesn't fucking sleep.
You're a real jerk, you know that? You're just sitting there doing nothing all day. Hey, you go suck my... God, that bullshit, you bozos! You're making the whole place sound like a used car dealership!
The Dark Valley is in quarantine. Put your weapon away and come here very slowly.
Freedom is a stalker clan with a vaguely anarchist ideology. In the original game, they were victims of amateurish storytelling. GSC is kind of like early BioWare. Their ideas are great, but they can't tell a coherent story if their life depends on it.
Hey, hey! Hold, Stalker! Freedom territory.
Shadow of Chernobyl introduces freedom by having its members savagely murdered by their ideological rivals from the Duty faction. And this happens after we spent hours in the company of Dutiers and got immersed in their point of view. So when I played this as a kid, I thought freedom was supposed to be a bad guy faction of hostile NPCs. But that's not true. Freedom might have been partially inspired by the Free Territory, an attempt by anarchist militias to form a free stateless society in the early 20th century. A man of many talents, Nestor Makhno was a Robin Hood-esque figure and the commander of an independent anarchist army in Ukraine from 1970 to 1921. Makhno is credited as the inventor of Tachanka, a horse-drawn platform mounting a heavy machine gun. Rapid deployment of machine guns was anarchist signature tactic, steppe warfare.
Delta, this is Alpha. What was that shooting all about? What's going on over there?
The Freedom Stalkers have a problem. An unknown enemy enemy keeps picking them off one by one. That is despite the fact that all exits from the Dark Valley are tightly controlled. In Shadow of Chernobyl, the construction yard was a bandit stronghold. In Clear Sky, it's the Freedom HQ.
Stalker, you are on Freedom territory, and that means no funny business. Come see me if you have any questions.
Gonna see the trader first.
Alrighty, show me your harvest.
Ashot is a very rare ethnic minority character. It's not weird that there are so few minorities. Ukraine is something like 95+% Slav. He sells valuable deattachable scopes.
What have you got for me, Sonny?
The mechanic specializes in Dragunov rifles.
Give me 5, bro. What's it gonna be? A hard drink or a soft smoke?
These guys love their LOL weed jokes, which is a little cringy and a little wholesome, not unlike their real-life prototypes, I guess. An eccentric bunch, Makhno's anarchists were known for their love of theater and for their sense of style.
How beautiful you are.
Free territory existed for 3 years. Its population was around 7 million. The population of the community in the zone is just a few dozen people. On a body of a dead merc, we find this game's version of AR-15, which will be our main gun for the foreseeable future. It doesn't come with a scope though, so I buy one from Ashot. Eventually, we discover who is picking up the Freedom members. The Dark Valley is a war zone between anarchists and mercs. Technically, we are a merc, but I don't think Scar is formally in the faction. Still not overcrowded. This is the base where the loner sells us a fake Gauss rifle in Shadow of Chernobyl. The guns are still not super accurate, but the upgrades will fix this. The rule of Stalker is that as soon as you buy something in a store, you'll find it while exploring the zone for free. I am now the owner of several NATO scopes.
My people are ready. We'll join the fight on your signal.
There is some sort of a Soviet antenna in this part of the valley we can use to triangulate the merc base location. Jesus Christ, the volume of fire. From SOC, we know that this building is the entrance to the X-18 lab, but we're not going down there in this game.
Mission failed. Blow the tunnel.
The mercs are using old infrastructure tunnels to sneak around undetected. I assumed it was a space anomaly or something.
If you mess with the best, you'll die like the rest. Soon the day will come when the zone will be free.
I keep picking up merc ARs and removing scopes and silencers from them. Guns are heavy and they aren't worth much to traders. Scopes and silencers, though, can act as a currency of sorts. As we learned in the past and are about to learn again, carrying actual rubles is counterproductive. We are back at the garbage. Having dealt with the merc threat, Freedom becomes more active on other fronts. Another important leader of the anarchists was Maria Nikiforova, the Ukrainian Joan of Arc and a self-proclaimed terrorist, who organized the Black Guards Free Combat Detachment, an armored train with artillery cannons, tachankas, armored cars, horses, and anarchist banners. Power breeds parasites. Anarchy is the mother of order. With their black flags and cannons, Nikiforova's combat units resembled pirate ships sailing across the Ukrainian steppe.
Vienna. I have to go now.
Oh yeah, now I remember another reason the community is critical of this game. They take all our money, which is fine as we didn't have much, and also all our fucking items. And this is a scripted scene.
Merc, this is Lebedev.
To make things even worse, fucking Lebedev calls us from the swamp and begins incoherently explaining convoluted main quest information. I don't care, dude, I just want my shit back. Without our artifacts providing protection, radiation is dangerous again. Fucking Makarov is absolute dog shit. Doesn't take us long to get our stuff back, thank God.
Hey, buddy, put your shooter away and come over here. We need to have a chat.
No, that thing between us, it's over. Our next stop is Agroprom Research Institute, which, in this game, is mostly controlled by the Duty faction.
What the hell you doing here? Run like the wind. Mutants will be here any minute.
Duty is supposed to be an ideological opponent of Freedom, but since the two factions are located on the opposite ends of the world map, they don't come into conflict until much later, unless we expedite this.
Where's your equipment, boy? This is a dangerous place. You won't get far without a good suit and a decent weapon.
If Stalker welfare is your concern, then do your job and kick the bandits out of the garbage. The duty storyline is about clearing mutant infestations. Rip that guy. There is only a small handful of bloodsuckers in this game, and as far as I know none of them are in Agroprom, and to be honest they're kind of pathetic. The mutants the dutiers have a problem with are Snorks, the gas mask guys.
If we do not protect the world from the spawning zone, who will?
And that's the main duty stronghold in the zone. In Shadow of Chernobyl, this place was owned by the military. And this is a variant of Scat 9 combat armor, one of the best armors in the game. It's like a midpoint between the scientist's Seva suit and an exoskeleton. The location is more lively compared to its SOC version, which was basically a combat arena.
Protecting the world from the contagious zone is the duty of us all.
The early propaganda wasn't quite as convincing or quotable. The mechanic specializes in upgrading the RP-74, a belt-fed machine gun. Even factoring its multiple drawbacks, like you can't sprint while having one equipped, it's a very powerful weapon, one of the very few new guns introduced in Clear Sky. The duty leader has a laptop. This is the most advanced piece of technology in this game.
General, did someone really sign up to go down into those pits?
He is referring to the monster-infested part of the Agroprom underground. Our job is to activate the old mechanism and flood the place. It's a long corridor of fire and snorks, probably the work of a pyrogeist. Somebody is attacking us by manipulating anomalies. The biggest problem when fighting a controller is just locating the creature. Once you get close, it will stop using its deadly psionic attacks and will just try to punch you in the face instead. That's a lot less dangerous. Once we initiate the flooding procedure, we need to evacuate the area on a time limit. Unintuitively, we need to run the opposite direction the animals are fleeing. This part of Agroprom is infested with bandits. Some things never change. If you played the original Stalker, you know that this is where Strelok's stash is. Finding it was the main quest objective in the first game, and it is the objective here.
Guys, this is Strelok.
Strelok and his friends made it to the center of the zone. Lebedev thinks that whatever they did there caused the zone to become unstable. This is a more obvious manifestation of a pyrogeist. We can probably kill it, but why waste ammunition? Let fucking Strelok kill it if he loves this place so much. A cool thing about the duty base is that it has this little mutant museum. You are looking at a very rare mutated cat. The creature was cut from the game, existing only as a stuffed animal. Agroprom is unique because it features 2 non-hostile faction HQs. This, I believe, is the 3rd loner base in the zone. They have a merchant and a mechanic who specializes in shotguns and desert eagles. As I was heading out, the place got attacked by bandits. The loners fought them off mostly on their own, but one of them got wounded and dropped his Vintorez rifle. I'll take that, thank you very much. Vintorez is Scar's signature gun. You can see it in the intro cutscene. This is a goddamn beautiful game. Getting dark. Not the best time to explore unfamiliar areas. I went back to the swamp because it is one of the few places I could consistently find artifacts in. Excellent squad form demonstrated by Team Kakashi.
Чего нашему начальству все не имется?
Just stalkers being bros. What of it?
What do you want anyway?
This thing makes us less vulnerable to fire damage. Not super useful, but these go for a lot of money. Sparkler is the same, but for electricity. There is probably something inside this unnatural-looking structure. Another powerful anti-radiation artifact. We have quite a setup. Good morning, Stalker. Time to go on with the main quest.
He even claimed to have been to the center of the zone. Naturally, I didn't really believe him, even though he showed me some photographs.
Yantar is home to the ecologists who don't participate in faction wars. Their bunker is permanently under siege by zombified stalkers. Until all the zombies are dead, the doors of the bunker won't open. They also run Norton Commander. This makes sense. Government scientists, underfunded. Professor Saharov needs our help to solve a plot-contrived problem. Underneath the Yantar installation, there is a Soviet research complex, basically a Ukrainian Black Mesa. And at the heart of it, there there is the Brain Scorcher.
Attention. Critical emissions.
The device emits waves that zombify anyone who comes too close, effectively blocking access deeper into the zone. But that's the problem for Strelok to solve in the next game. As of now, the Brain Scorcher doesn't work properly. The waves it emits make the zombies extra aggressive or something. The scientists hired a team of stalkers to infiltrate the facility and fix the antenna. It's a zombie shooting section. Scar has to protect the technician until his work is done. We kill the same 3 zombies over and over again, waiting for the timer to count to 0. These very artificial, scripted action sequences don't really work in Stalker. Once the antenna is repaired and all the zombies are dead, the area becomes fully explorable. An emission. We need to find cover ASAP. Scar's plot ability to survive blowouts only works in cutscenes. Emissions kill both humans and animals. Birds literally fall from the sky. A tent doesn't help one survive an emission, as it turns out. The Stalker base in Agroprom is the closest safe area. I love the inappropriate social music they're playing. Like, we did it, we conquered the zone, we made the unknown routine, and then we made it tacky.
What if I pull this baby out?
14 years from now, these guys are gonna become the best army in Europe. Saharov said Strelok is somewhere in the Red Forest.
Hurry up! You're very close to Strelok.
He's right there, less than 100 meters away. We can chase Strelok, but it's pointless. The story events are very heavily scripted. He hired loners to take care of us, himself escaping via an underground tunnel that leads deeper into the zone.
Merc, I blew up the tunnel.
Sometimes the weather would change when you load a save game, a bizarre bug. Since the tunnel is destroyed, the only way forward is via the town of Limansk, but we'll have to explore around and find a way to lower the bridge. So this is the Red Forest, aka the Limansk Forest Preserve. Deep within lives a mysterious figure they call the Forester. Perhaps he can help us. This map is accurate. The Forester can be reached via a space anomaly. The Red Forest was in the original Stalker, but its Shadow of Chernobyl version is a fairly linear dungeon-like area you clean in the late game. In Clear Sky, it was redesigned to be an actual forest. A fair criticism aimed at this game is that it reuses way too many maps from the original, but on the other hand, the areas designed specifically for Clear Sky are some of the best maps in this franchise. Is that a pseudo-giant? I will slay the creature with a knife to elevate my status in the Stalker community. The space anomaly we're looking for is deep in the woods. You run to this T-64 tank and... The Forester lived here long before the Chernobyl disaster and the incident. He was a park ranger and a guide for tourists on field trips. The man supposedly has a near supernatural ability to always find his way out of anomalies. An old Zaporozhets vehicle with an RPG-7 shot inside.
So, are we going to have a conversation or what?
Despite this being a hard-to-reach location, there are veteran stalkers who know about this place, mostly dutiers and loners. They speak Russian. These campfire scenes are incredible. This game was released in 2008. This was 300 years ago. The Russians made it clear that coexistence is impossible. By 2014, the once dominant Russophilic strain in the Ukrainian culture was rapidly going extinct. And once cruise missiles started hitting the streets around the GSC office, the devs decided that Stalker 2 will be voice acted in Ukrainian instead of Russian. The news caused a gamer meltdown on the other side of the border, followed by explosion of threats and accusations. It was a Gamergate-like action, colloquially known as We'll pirate the Ukrainian version. We'll play it for a laugh. There is nothing to laugh at. It's stupid. Half-Polish swine peasant dialect devours itself. Ukraine will once again become Russia's borderland, and I guess Stalker will become Russian. The whole language should be removed. English, too. Leave Russian and Chinese. That would be perfect. Russia was borderland of the Mongol Empire, and at this rate it will be the borderland of the Chinese Empire. What are you talking about? Do you even understand what you're saying? Mongols are Mongols. What does Ukraine have to do with it? Ukraine, unlike the Mongol Empire, never existed until the Soviet Union created it. These are occupied Russian lands that need to be returned. Period. When Kiev was founded, Moscow was a swamp. So go croak, maybe your ancestors will hear you. When Kiev was founded, there was no Ukraine. The Polish project to tear away parts of Ukraine and then the whole country, it's ongoing. It is enough to know history, and all Polish intrigues are revealed. The Russophilic Ukraine is gone, thank God. But we still have scenes like these to remind us that it was once embarrassingly real, thousands of years ago. It's almost morning. Time for us to move on.
It's been a long time since anyone's come through the Red Forest. Merc, come over here, and I'll fill you in.
First to greet us is the commander of the Freedom Squad, who got stuck here when the zone rearranged itself after the big emission. A point of interest in this location is the barrier, which is a choke point, a line of defense against the mutated nightmares from the zone's unexplored depths. Do you know why they call it Bloodsucker Village? No, I'm not referencing the meme. There are barely any bloodsuckers in the village or in this game. We are reunited with the mercs. That's good. We'll need their help to get to Limansk.
I need to help this one fella get to the antenna at the military base.
As you can see, they're not very afraid of bloodsuckers. They learn to coexist, I guess. As we approach the endgame, the Renegades, the faction from the swamps, makes an inglorious return. They are much better equipped this time, not that it helps them much. The devs wanted a faction anyone can shoot at, disregarding their current political allegiance.
The army boys have holed up in there and they've got this whole area covered.
The main event is the assault on the military base that is held by the remnants of the Ukrainian Special Forces, cut off from the rest of the military. The Spetsnaz had their numbers severely reduced by mutant attacks, and a local Freedom Squad decided to take advantage of the situation and finish them off. All I can say is that I changed my mind on Major Kaletsky, who, in fact, did nothing wrong.
I live and I let others live, understand? Do you know even what my official salary is, asshole? Exactly, you try living on that.
A gun is a character in an FPS game, and the cast of characters in Stalker has a lot of late Soviet and early Russian designs that were considered advanced back when the game was being developed, but since then became technically and morally obsolete. Like OC-14 Groza here, a bullpup 9mm assault rifle, a very potent weapon in Stalker, somewhat let down by its small clip size. Groza is useful to have even if you don't plan on upgrading it, as the integrated grenade launcher allows us to take advantage of all the Soviet Vogue grenades we collected. Back in the Red Forest, our job is to reduce the number of respawning bandits while the merc specialists lower the bridge. The original Call of Duty Modern Warfare was released a year ago. Linear shooting galleries were hot shit. I'm not quite ready to go to Limansk just yet. All this time we were being really clever and strategic, not committing to a faction, not making enemies, but being a scheming asshole has a downside. Faction war is profitable, high-tier equipment is expensive, we don't have any money and are stuck with mid-game Stalker gear. So which side to pick? The Freedom campaign is overall the hardest. Back in Shadow of Chernobyl, Freedom possessed superior firepower, while their opponents from the Duty faction have better armor. In practice, this meant Freedom won every time. But not in this game. These Duty PK exoskeleton soldiers are the Stalker equivalent of Enclave minigun troops. I guess we could join Duty, but I don't feel like shooting Freedom. Another option would be Father Valerian and his crew. The rewards for joining the Loners are not amazing, but still substantial. Besides, the real reward is that you get to kill bandits and watch them burn in fire anomalies. Still using my barely upgraded AR. Best gun. It's over for AK cells.
All that's left is to make a move for their lair.
Way ahead of you, Valerian. After collecting the reward, we head to Yantar and buy the Bulat armored suit. Military gear offers less protection from anomalies, but it's superior against bullets, and the bullets happen to be the main threat in the late game. The disadvantage of Bulat is that it only has 2 artifact slots. We'll have to pick and choose which artifacts we want.
Clear Sky Fighters. We have completed a brilliant operation.
I think it's cool that Lebedev, the science nerd, is also a field commander. He's like a Stargate character.
Limansk was lost for many years, and there are many good reasons for that. It would be best for all of us if it stays lost.
Limansk is a beautiful abandoned city with a late imperial/early Soviet architecture. The town doesn't actually exist in real life. Its closest equivalent is a residential area attached to the military base Chernobyl 2. The main threat in the early stages of Limansk are the Brotherhood of Nod renegades.
You may live, but don't let me catch sight of you. We're totally pinned. If we can take out the machine gun...
More Call of Duty influences. Destroy the machine gun so that the squad can advance. These sequences don't really have the Stalker magic. Deeper in Limansk, we meet the final faction.
Пришло время. Я вижу твое желание.
The Monolith are a group of stalkers that became convinced there was a special artifact in the center of the zone. So one day, not that long ago actually, they packed their bags and marched through the barrier towards the Brain Scorcher. And everyone was like, well, rip these guys. But then they came back, changed. Whatever hidden power lies in the center of the zone, the Monolith are now its servants and guardians. In Shadow of Chernobyl, they had cool voiceovers. The actors did a fantastic job portraying indoctrinated fanatics. For some reason, this is not a feature in Clear Sky. Limansk is masquerading as a town, but don't be fooled. It's another one of them linear open-air dungeons. And here is another destroy the machine gun sequence. Bizarrely, this little building deep in the zone is occupied by the military. The campfire stalkers sometimes make fun of the soldiers for their supposed inability to understand and navigate the zone, and yet here they are. The machine gun can be taken and equipped. No iron sight aiming with this thing. Not a whole lot to do in Limansk exploration-wise. This place is well made, it's beautiful, with quite a few unique assets not seen elsewhere. Mods like Anomaly make a better use of this location. I believe this is the Duga 2 radar. In real life, it's a part of the Soviet missile defense system. In Stalker lore, it probably has to do with mind control. The abandoned hospital is technically a separate location, but it's really more like a final room of the Limansk dungeon.
Listen, there's a sniper and a machine gunner.
A sniper and a machine gunner. Just to check every box in the COD bingo, the final boss of the game is a military helicopter. It has a life bar and everything. No need for an RPG-7. The chopper is easily shot down with an AR. This place is so goddamn beautiful. The area design is fantastic. The content could be better. Next is the final level of the game.
We've done the impossible. We fought our way into the very center of the zone. To the tower.
Jesus Christ, Lebedev, speak up! We are being issued a Gauss rifle, a weapon very obviously inspired by Fallout 2. This is a three-way fight between Clear Sky, Strelok, and the Monolith army that protects this place. Our job is to stop Strelok and finish the game before we hit a critical bug and the experience falls apart. Observe how gigantic and detailed this level is. It must have been created early in the development before the games figured out what the story is gonna be. None of the Stalker games know what they want to do with Chernobyl. The playable area is just a small handful of platforms connected with teleporters. The Gauss rifle doesn't even one-hit kill the Monolith soldiers unless you shoot them in the head. I ended up killing a bunch of them with my old AR, a weapon I'm used to. Not a great endgame sequence, all things considered, but thankfully our buddy Strelok seems to agree, so he decided to just stay here in one place, waiting for someone to get his health bar down.
I didn't expect anything like this.
Yes, the audio mixing is terrible, but ask yourself, do you really want to hear what Lebedev has to say? I think the Clear Sky faction was a scheme to embezzle Bezos' money, in which case, rip base Lebedev. Too bad they didn't actually know much about the zone. The power hidden behind the Chernobyl sarcophagus is capable of tactically releasing emissions as a defensive weapon. Clear Sky is destroyed. We'll meet a handful of survivors in the next Stalker game, Call of Pripyat. The ending cutscene shows what happened to Strelok. The monolith are mass indoctrinating stalkers, Clockwork Orange style. Plus there is probably some psionic fuckery involved. What about our protagonist, Scar the Mercenary? His fate is unclear, but he's probably dead or inducted into Monolith. We ain't gonna see him again. Scar is kind of like Corporal Shepard of Stalker. The real zone of alienation surrounding the Chernobyl nuclear power plant was invaded by the Russians IRL. Makes me wonder if the narrative of Stalker 2 will include this event in some way or another. And wasn't there a Call of Duty game with this plot element? I remember playing it and thinking, wow, what a Tom Clancy tier garbage. These idiot foreigners don't understand anything about the local geography or politics. Well, I was wrong, obviously. We live in the world conjured in the imagination of American boomers. They are the protagonists, and we are NPCs. The social media page for the new Stalker Fest is available in Ukrainian and English, but not in Russian. And like I mentioned, it's the same for the uncancelled and re-announced sequel. By the way, gentlemen, I think everyone understands that this game shouldn't be purchased. Do not finance Russophobia. You should watch less TV, Vatnik. Do you already know in which cellar you're gonna hide when the Russians come for you, bro? Pray it would be Russians and not Chechens. Good luck. Ukrainian and English. I see there are no Nazis in Ukraine, huh? Considering that 60% speak Russian even during the war. You need to be a complete fascist to not consider this. I'll play in English to understand the foreign experience. The Polish slaves are demanded nothing more but to forget their own language and their country. They should remove all the weapons and vehicles, only leaving the Ukrainian ones, and remove the power plant. Russian engineers build it. The notion that Russian engineers were behind Chernobyl probably ain't the killer argument this guy thinks it is. Another confirmation that we live inside the Tom Clancy Matrix is the fact that Russians themselves have a very American understanding of what the USSR was, and they also refer to Soviet people as just Russians. So that was Stalker Clear Sky, the second game in the series, chronologically a prequel, the oldest game I've ever covered. I've been thinking about this. 1917-1921. The anarchists, the Reds and the Whites battle in Ukraine. In 1934, Makhno dies in exile. In 1999, a Quake gamer with a Ukrainian last name creates something awful, an internet forum which becomes a hatchery of online politics. No! 2014-2022. The online is a battlefield between anarchists, tankies and Nazis. Foreigners will be fighting our battles for another 300 years. This was supposed to be a third Shadow of Chernobyl episode, but the script for that was made obsolete by recent events, so I ended up incorporating bits of it into this video. Support this channel on Patreon. Doing Nevada next.
Баба, заманала уже голодным бегать. Хавать охота.